let me tell you something. When you're in it to win it, you go for the gold at any cost. Hey folks, it's Thumb Together. I'm Andrew Fantasia, and we are going to be talking together about I, Tonya. This is the biopic that I have been waiting for a long ass time. I think I heard news about this like a year ago, and I've just been waiting patiently, sitting in my little chair waiting for this to come out. This is the story of Tonya Harding, the American figure skating Olympic athlete who did some questionable things in her time, or was at least involved in some. This was a story that I remember was all over the news when I was young. It was right up there, like with the O.J. Simpson trials. Like, this was being talked about everywhere. And I've got my my Olympic shirt on to commemorate the occasion because I was once an Olympic athlete myself. This is a big lie. I, Tonya, follows the story of this girl, then woman, and we see her grow from a girl to a woman, Tonya Harding, who did not have the greatest upbringing. She had a father who she really loved but was absent for most of her life, and she was raised instead by a very harsh, cold, controlling mother named Lavana. Now, Tonya Harding in this film is played by Margot Robbie, showing that, and I like when actors do this, she's showing that she's not just a pretty face person. She's not. When you have actors, whether they're male or female, who are just super good looking, I feel like it can, they can get stuck in that rut where they're just like, I'm just going to play the good looking person. So I like when actors do this, when they get down and dirty and they're like, forget how I look, watch how I act. And, we've had great actors before like Charlize Theron who did that in Monster. And now I think Margot can add that notch to her belt here in I, Tonya, because I, Tonya was not about... Margot Robbie's a beautiful woman. I mean, she is. We all saw Wolf of Wall Street. That woman is gorgeous. But this movie's not about her looking pretty. This movie is about her being a talented actress, showing what she can do. And she friggin' does it. So she rocks it. Sebastian Stan, who plays her husband... Boy, Jeff Gillooly, that guy was a character. He does an excellent job. Again, a good-looking guy, but in this movie, he looks like a tool. And it's not about how good-looking he is. It's about how he nails this character. And then you have Allison Janney, who I love with all my heart, playing this horrible, horrible Lavana character. And she rocks it. What can I say? Like, our three leads kicked ass. This whole movie kicks ass. This kind of movie... It's the kind of movie that once you walk out of it, you just want to like fight somebody, but like in a good way. Just in like a, hey, what's up? Like that kind of way. I know, maybe it's psychotic that I said that. Forget I said that. Strike that from the record. But that's just the mood that this movie puts you in. It's a badass movie. It's about really tough people who might not necessarily be the smartest people in the world, but they're not the worst people in the world. They're just tough people who had a tough life. And I think that at the end of the day, what I really liked about I, Tonya was that it was this love story, for lack of a better word, about two people wanting love and happiness, but they are two people who know nothing about love and happiness because it was never something that they had. They did not have happy youths. They were not loved as children. So when these kinds of characters grow up and become adults, how do they in turn show love and show affection and give and receive happiness? It's hard. You can't do that if you come from an abusive family, if you come from a family that was as cold and as neglectful as Tonya Harding's or as Jeff Gillooly's. So those parts for me were the best parts of I, Tonya. Having these two characters who are just these misfit kind of people who just, they don't really have anything else going for them in their lives except each other, and in Tonya's case, figure skating. And that was kind of beautiful. It was beautiful seeing these characters struggle for happiness no matter what the cost. And as we learn, knowing how this story ends, they took that a little too far. So if you don't know anything about the Tonya Harding fiasco. If you were not alive in the mid 90s and this just, everything I'm saying is going over your head. Quick refresher course. Okay. Tonya Harding was an American figure skater back in the mid 90s, early to mid 90s, I should say. She was good enough to get into the Olympics. I keep going to the wrong shoulder. She's good enough to get into the Olympics. But the thing is, Tonya was not a prissy girly girl kind of girl. Tonya came from a rough family with alcoholism and all that fun stuff. She was a, foul-mouthed tough girl. And back in the day, the figure skating circuit, specifically the women's figure skating circuit, wanted to keep up this outdated image that all female figure skaters should be these princessy kind of girls who are very elegant and speak eloquently and etc. And that's not Tonya Harding. That is a far cry from Tonya Harding. So judges are expecting these high and mighty, high society kind of women to come waltzing onto the ice with their vanilla lattes, and then along comes Tonya Harding, chugging a beer and saying, "What's up, assholes? Give me my gold because I'm good. I'll fight you." And that turned these judges off, and so they were not giving Tonya the fair chance she deserved. They were deliberately giving her low scores, regardless of how well she skated. And at the beginning of her career, that was the biggest roadblock for Tonya. Was she's a great skater. It is, in her blood, but she's getting low scores for things like presentation because her dress is not nice. And she calls them out on it. She's like, "This is bullshit. I'm skating better than all these girls. Why are they getting 6s and I'm getting like a 4.2? And the judges are like, "Well, the image is important." And you want to punch these judges in the faces watching this. So you can see the kind of world, the kind of system that, forced people like Tonya and Jeff Gillooly to take drastic measures that they end up taking. So to close off this refresher course, basically, if you still don't know what this whole story is about, Tanya's main competitor in the American figure skating circuit at the time was another woman by the name of Nancy Kerrigan. And Nancy Kerrigan did fall into that image that the judges had. She was a girly girl, a very sweet, very prim and proper girl. She was kind of America's sweetheart at the time. And she was, for lack of a better word, friends with Tonya. Her and Tonya got along. They shared hotel rooms when they went traveling across country to partake in, whether it's nationals or what have you. So they knew each other. They had no ill will towards each other. There was just friendly competition. Two American girls. As far as they were concerned, they're like, hell, if one of us wins, America still gets the gold. So we're fine as far as that's concerned. So Tonya and Nancy, it wasn't like this bitter rivalry. But the more Nancy started winning and the more Tonya started losing, Tonya was like fed up. And at a certain point, her not so bright husband and his not so bright friend decide that if they want to garner sympathy for Tonya and escalate her chances of winning, that they should send a death threat to Nancy Kerrigan. Like a, don't skate in the Olympics or else kind of thing. And that got carried a little too far, and long story short, a hired goon got an extendable baton and broke Nancy Kerrigan's kneecap. He shattered her kneecap and then ran away. And she could not compete in that for like a very long time. And that ended up becoming a huge scandal. And of course, Tonya Harding and her husband and her husband's friend, they all were implicated because they were all partially to blame. But the movie paints a really good picture of how, yes, their stupidity kind of let this scheme get too far out of hand. But it was not so much a matter of maliciousness. It was, as one person in the film puts it, it was just a dumb idea concocted by a bunch of boobs. That's how he puts it. And really, that's the feeling you get when you walk out of this movie. You're like, these people are not sinister people. They're not horrible people. They're people that you might even want to sit down and grab a drink with and just shoot the shit with. Tonya and her husband are not a healthy couple by any stretch of the imagination, but they're not assholes. I think they're just sort of just not the brightest people, and they let their passions get ahead of them, and the things got carried away, and poor Nancy Kerrigan had a shattered kneecap to show for it. So the movie, I think, did a great job of not being too biased, not being like, Tonya's evil or whatnot. Even in the case of Levana, Tonya's mother, who is a character with almost no redeemable qualities, they still made you love her. She was the person that, you love to hate her because she's such a biatch and she's so mean to her daughter. It was apparently realistic. Apparently Tonya Harding herself, the real Tonya Harding, saw this movie and said, yep, that's my mom, that's me, that's Jeff. So they didn't try to glamorize anything, at least I don't think so. But that is the story of I, Tonya. I'll dive into spoilers really quickly. I mean, obviously this is a true story and I just kind of told you what happens. But the spoilers are strictly for the movie itself. If you plan on seeing this, stop here. They do, I think, a great job of pulling off most of the film. I think I have a rule, and that is that when you get in bed with a biopic, you have to prepare yourself for an anticlimax. And what I mean by that is this. Real life does not work the way movies work. In real life, there's no exciting climax that leaves you on a high note. That's not a thing that happens. In real life, things just kind of peter out and end just like with a whimper instead of a bang. And that's just how life is. And almost every true story, every biopic I can think of ends like that. One of the biggest examples I can think of is Black Mass with Johnny Depp, which I did not like. That was a boring ending. It was literally like, people committed crimes, so what happens? The FBI arrested the people who committed crimes. Like, who cares? So, I, Tonya, it's not an exception to that rule. It does end anticlimactically because it is based on a true story, but there are good ways and bad ways to end a movie anticlimactically, and I think that I, Tonya ended it in a good way. It stopped the story where it needed to stop. It left you on an emotional note that was satisfying, and it gives you the sort of rundown of where everybody is now and what they're doing. And it was kind of a beautiful moment because right at the end they let you know that Tonya Harding is remarried now, and she's a mother. I think she has 2 kids, if I'm not mistaken. So she's a mom and she's happily married. And I think seeing that at the end of all of this stuff we've sat through regarding her life, seeing that this woman who has been through hell and back has settled down, is in love, in a healthy relationship, and is a mom and loves her kids, and she's like a good mom, that makes me feel good. Like, she did not have a good mom, but she overcame that. She overcame her horrible first marriage to Jeff Gillooly, and now she is in a better place and she's raising kids in a healthy environment. And that, to me, as far as I'm concerned, hearing that, humanity wins a little bit. Tonya kind of stared down some of the crummier parts of humanity, and she's like, nah, you're not gonna beat me down. And she tried again, and humanity won, and now she's got a good, healthy family. Everything's great, and I wish them all the best, because that's awesome. That's the kind of story you want to hear. That, talk about feel good. Like, that's the definition of feel good. I want to also dive in really quickly, just a little bit more on Levana, who Allison Janney's character. This woman is, you got to see her to believe her, man. The fact that this is really what this person was allegedly like in real life is both hilarious and terrifying. If you're on the fence of whether you should watch I, Tonya, I will tell you right now, watch it just for Allison Janney's Levana, because that woman is insane. She is so much fun to watch. Like I said, you love to hate her. And the last point I want to bring up is that there is just a beautiful piece of cinematography that I put in this section because I didn't want to spoil it beforehand. And it takes place in during the 1990 Nationals, when Tonya goes to skate the Nationals in 90, and she goes out on the ice, and just the way the camera positions itself, it starts out, she skates up to the camera, and then she looks down at the camera, and it's down on the ice looking up at her, and then it just follows her on this whirly gig that she does around the ice, And that's when I believe she does her first triple axel. And it ends, the sequence ends with that beautiful shot that I think you see in all the trailers, where she's going like this. I can't, so my camera's not even wide enough to accommodate that, but she's got her arms out and she's just like, I did it. The way that shot looks, obviously looks a million times better than what you just saw this schmuck doing right here. But it's just something about that shot is just pure magic. And I think what it's doing there is it's capturing what I believe to be the greatest moment of this woman's life. She just, she landed her triple axel. She's at the 90 Nationals. She's making a name for herself. This is pretty much cementing her road to the Olympics. And as soon as she landed that axel, she pretty much knows, I'm going to the Olympics. So when her set is finished and the audience starts applauding and she does that whole little swoop and the camera just kind of freezes on her, that to me is just like, it's the best part of this movie. It shows, it's like capturing just that golden moment where it's like, this is this woman's life right here. She's never going to forget this moment. So we don't want you, the audience, to forget it either. So kudos to the director for kind of zooming in on that moment. I kind of wish they hadn't shown that shot in the trailers so much, because it's such a gorgeous shot. I understand they want to sell the movie with it, but I wish it hadn't been spoiled for me, because to have seen that for the first time during the movie, like, I got choked up as it is. If I didn't know it was coming, I probably would have gone even more so. So that is I, Tonya. Check it out. It's a lot of fun. It's one of the better biopics you'll see. This has been Thumb Together. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel so I can thumb together a whole lot more. Now I think there's only one thing left to do, is try to attempt a triple axel right here in front of the camera. Here we go. Here it comes. Nope. 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 Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. Oh, Jesus. Oh, that feels bad. I'm not Tonya Harding.